From American Public Media.
And we are live from here in our homes across America. Here's your host, Chris Thile.
Ahoy! Let's hear it for our musical director, Mike Elizondo. Our live from heroes in the band tonight include Alex Hargreaves on fiddle, Chris Eldridge on guitar, Ted Poor on drums, and Brett Williams on keys. Oh, do we ever have a wonderful show for you tonight. Our guests are Wilco, Madison Cunningham, Tom Papa, Marion Winik, the Sklar Brothers, and Norah Jones. Live from here is supported by Progressive Insurance, comparing car insurance rates from multiple insurers so shoppers can evaluate options in one place. Now that's Progressive. Comparisons available at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. And by A to Z Wineworks, a family-owned company combining commerce with conscience since 2002, always striving for the remarkable. A to Z Wineworks is committed to offering food-friendly Pinot Noir, Pinot Gris, and Chardonnay. A to Z Wineworks, the essence of Oregon. This episode of Live From Here was recorded remotely from the safety of our homes. Live From Here is produced by American Public Media. So there I was, in the kitchen after dinner, preparing to wash the dishes, when I think to myself, now would be an excellent time to start in on the new Fiona Apple record I've been hearing so much about. Start in on, because what does it take to do the dishes after a 3-person dinner? Maybe 15 minutes? So I'll check out the first 15 minutes of it, finish the dishes, and get back to work. So, earbuds in, press play. Ooh, vibey Casio drums. Rinse, rinse, rinse. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Boom, 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 boom. Well, this is excellent, but no surprises there. It's Fiona after all. You love me. You rinse, rinse, scrub. Starting to take some real pride in the dish work. No need to rush things. Track 2. Okay, that's it. Change of plans. And again, I say, ahoy! Like I said, there I was, innocently trying to get through the dishes as quickly as possible when I get to the second track of Fiona Apple's new record, Fetch the Bolt Cutters, and realize I need to make the dishes last as long as the record. 50 glorious minutes I washed those dishes. They may never get dirty again. So there's a change of plans for you. Been a whole lot of plan changing going on lately. Most of it as troubling as that particular change of plans was delightful. Which reminds me of that song I just started, Shamika, wherein Fiona recalls an acquaintance who sort of gruffly, accidentally inspires her to come more completely into her own as a human being. She sings, Shamika wasn't gentle and she wasn't my friend, but she got through to me and I'll never see her again. What and who in your life does that make you think of? I just got a whole bunch of stuff floating up in my head. It's hard to recognize agents of positive change when they are upon us, no? She goes on to sing, and when the storm's torrential, I recall Shamika said I had potential. Shamika said I had potential. So the first time I heard that song, I thought about all the people that Shamika represents for me personally. And on all subsequent listens, I've thought, what if Shamika is COVID-19 and we are all Fiona Apple? Okay, so where were we? I used to walk down the streets on my way to school, grinding my teeth to a rhythm invisible. I used my feet to crush dead leaves like they had fallen from trees just for me. just to be crash cymbals. In class I passed the time, drawing a slash for every time the second hand went by. A group of 5 done 12 times was a minute, but Shamika said I had potential. Shamika said I had potential. Shamika said I had potential. Shamika said I...
I used to march down the windy, windy sidewalk, slapping my leg with the riding crop, thinking it made me come off so tough. I didn't smile because a smile always seemed rehearsed. I wasn't afraid of the bullies, and that just made the bullies worse. In class I passed the time, drawing a slash for every time the second hand went by. A group of 5 done 12 times was a minute, but Shamika said I had potential. Shamika said I had potential. Shamika said I had potential. Shamika said I had potential.
Hurricane Gloria in Excelsis Day, oh that's my bird and my tree. My dog and my man and my music is my holy trinity. Hurricane Gloria in Excelsis Day, oh that's my bird and my tree. My dog and my man and my music is my holy trinity. Tony told me he described me as pissed off, funny and warm. Sebastian said I'm a good man in a storm. Back then I didn't know what potential meant, and Shamika wasn't gentle and she wasn't my friend, but she got through to me and I'll never see her again.
See her again.
She got through to me and I'll never see her again.
See her again.
I'm pissed off, funny and warm. I'm a good man in a storm, and when the fall's torrential, I recall Shamika said I had potential. Shamika said I had potential. Shamika said I... Tony told me he described me as pissed off, funny and warm. Sebastian said I'm a good man in a storm. Back then I didn't know what potential meant, and Shamika wasn't gentle and she wasn't my fan, but she got through to me and I'll never see her again. See her again. She got through to me and I'll never see her again. I'm pissed off, funny and warm. I'm a good man in a storm, and when the fall's torrential, I recall Shamika said I had potential. Shamika said I had potential. Shamika said I had potential. Shamika said I... Shamika said I had potential. Shamika said I had potential. Shamika said I had potential. Shamika said I had potential.
I'm pissed off, funny and warm. I'm a good man in a storm. Shamika said I'm pissed off, funny and
That is Shamika, written by Fiona Apple from her new record, Fetch the Bolt Cutters, which if you haven't listened, make a plan. Although first, citizens of the airwaves, and thank you for tuning in to join us, please make welcome Wilco. This is a brand new one called Tell Your Friends.
Forget to tell your friends when you see them again. Oh, I love you. Oh, I love you. I wanna hold you. Let's twist again. I Don't forget to tell your friends this is going to end. Oh, and I needed you. Oh, I needed you. Our love is young. Our love is real. Our
That was Everyone Hides from Wilco's most recent record, Ode to Joy. Before that, we heard a new song of theirs, Tell Your Friends. Fear not, Wilco will return. Now some words from writer Marion Winik, followed by a conversation between Marion and our creative director, Bodine Boogie Bowling. Take it away, Marion.
The Alpha, died 2008. Anyone who was at Camp Nawita in the late 1930s can tell you she was queen of the baseball diamond, the tennis court, the hockey field, the horseshoe pitch, and the lake. Too bad she beat Title IX by 40 years. It wasn't exactly the heyday of female business majors either, nor women in the workplace, and for a really bad idea, try sending a young woman on a business trip by herself, wedding ring or no. Enough already. She got pregnant, moved to the shore, took up golf and gin. She won her first club championship in 1966, just as I began my poetry career. I raced into the dining room where she was drinking her martini, ode in hand. She had a bad lie in the weeds of 16, ere she lofted and landed her ball on the green. Everyone's mother is mythological. Her body, the origin of existence and consciousness, her house, the pimped-out crib of Zeus, her mistakes, the cause of everything. Holy her rose bushes, holy her blackjack system, her London broil, holy. My mother, the godhead of 7 Dwight Drive, rose daily from her bed to quaff her Tropicana orange juice and to slay the New York Times crossword puzzle. She survived a difficult childhood, my father's hijinks, 2 heart attacks, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, surgery for diverticulosis, and the many poor decisions and inappropriate outfits of her daughters. She certainly did not believe a clot in her lung could bring her down, that smoking for 65 years would actually cause lung cancer, or that lung cancer was definitely fatal. The last thing she did before she took to her bed was win a golf tournament. Clearly, the subprime crisis, the market crash, Hurricane Sandy, and even Donald Trump were biding their time till she was out of the way. And then she was. Imagine Persephone coming up from hell and Demeter not there. Strange cars in the driveway. The rose bushes, skeletons. You stand there at first, uncomprehending, your poem in your hand. Then you go somewhere. Call it home. Call it spring.
You just heard The Alpha, read and written by Marion Winik, an essay from the Big Book of the Dead, which came out in 2019. I'm Bodine Bowling, and Marion and I are chatting between her home in Baltimore and mine in Brooklyn. Marion, how are you?
I'm very happy to be talking to you, Bodine.
You know, the subject of this episode is change of plans, and you were meant to be part of our March 14th Kennedy Center show, which was right when everything shut down.
It was such a great opportunity to be with Lucinda Williams and be in Kennedy Center and have millions of listeners. And
Oh, heartbreaker. Can you tell me about the Big Book of the Dead? This is your 10th book, is that right?
It is. So the Big Book of the Dead is 125 essays about people I knew who died. None of them are more than 400 words. And some of them are people that I didn't actually know, like David Bowie and Prince. But a lot of them are close people like my mother and my father. I very often have people tell me that they were afraid to pick up the book because of the title. It seems like it's going to be so depressing, the Big Book of the Dead. And it turns out that each of the essays really celebrates somebody's life. And yeah, there are some sad moments in there and especially tragic deaths, but there's also a lot of great lives lived. And I'm in every single one of these things. They're not like a regular obituary, but I don't use anyone's name. So everybody is referred to by a label like the Realtor or the Alpha or the queen of the scene. And the book is organized so that altogether it tells the story of my life. So it sort of establishes my childhood in New Jersey, and it goes with me through 20 years in Texas, and then living in rural Pennsylvania, and finally this big Baltimore section.
So all of the essays in this book are fewer than 400 words, which is incredible, especially thinking about, for instance, your mother. How do you write about your mother in less than 400 words?
I've written about my mother a lot. And so in one way, it's like a challenge to write something about her that's different than everything I've ever said about her. But in another way, it's like I want to make the archetypal sense of her. So many people have the feeling that it reminds them of their mother, even if they have totally different characteristics.
And speaking of mothers, I mean, that's a real heartbreak about the Kennedy Center show, is that my mom didn't get to meet you because I know that she's dying to.
We forgot to say that Bodine's mother is who brought us together and made this possible.
Yeah, my mom is a huge fan of yours. I'm so glad she brought you into my life.
Yesterday was my birthday, and I had 2 of my children here with me, which never would have happened if we weren't having a pandemic. I had one good change of plans.
Thank you, Marion. Thank you, Bodine. Which brings us to some music that I wrote in the aftermath of one of my changed plans, perhaps the most changey of my changed plans, and that's the dissolution of my first marriage when I was about 23. It changed everything for me, whether directly or indirectly, where I lived, the way I wanted to go about making music, my religious beliefs even, and I put it all into this piece that I wrote for my new band, Punch Brothers. We recorded it on our debut record, Punch, but the performance you're going to hear is from the University of Michigan in 2009, and I selected it because I was out for drinks with Jack Stratton of Wolfpack back in the before times, and he told me he was at this show. So I dug up the board tape from the Punch Brothers vault, listened to it, and here we are. This is the back third of the third movement of The Blind Leaving the Blind. Live from Here. Welcome back to Live from Here. That was my band Punch Brothers playing an excerpt from the third movement of The Blind Leaving the Blind. And how lucky are we to have Madison Cunningham with us on this show. And hey, she and I talked on the phone about some stuff. I'm curious, with our theme of change of plans, what were you about to be doing that you're not doing?
I was supposed to be writing a record this year, so I had planned on kind of hunkering down and staying home for a lot of this year. But I should have been on tour with Mandy Moore right now.
Oh, wow.
Which is a bummer for her because she just released a record. It's been probably the most lonely sort of writing cycle that I've had. I'm used to kind of popping over to Tyler Chester's house and kind of showing him things. It's lonely, but it's good. It's a good thing, I think.
Do you think that what's going on right now is going to sneak into these songs? Is it sneaking into these songs?
I think it is. There's no way that it can't. Like, we have to respond to our immediate situations, and that's the most honest way to write. I think in the end, I heard someone say once, like, how dare you get in the way of what your subconscious wants to say? And I try to abide by that rule, as I'm sure you do too, where it's like, to not just immediately judge what is coming out of your studio or your guitar or your mouth or your mind.
That is like, that right there is the key to both composition and the improvisation, is to at least temporarily stay the self-judgment.
Yes.
And I feel like that's a good thing for us to all bear in mind right now. But boy, I'm bad at applying it to life, I'm afraid.
Yeah, same here.
And tell me about the Waits cover, because I've always loved this song. I've never actually gotten to play it until you sent it around.
I heard this song maybe 5 years back. A good friend, Adam Levy, played it, and I just was really extremely jealous of the lyrics, and obviously anything Tom Waits.
It's one of the great all-time lyrics,
isn't it? There's nothing more that I love about a song than when the chorus can mean like 10 different things, but it's saying the same thing over and over again, but the verses inform it. And he just is kind of the freaking master. John Prine is also the master of that too. Like since he
John,
passed.
we love you. We miss you.
Seriously. What I've found is that a lot of the songs that I've wanted to write about this time are already written by other artists that, even though they weren't experiencing a pandemic, they definitely are able to describe how one would feel in a situation like that. And I think that's incredible.
This exact scenario seems wholly remarkable and is in many respects, but the way it makes us feel as human beings has been felt before. And there are role models. There are models that we can look at and go, well, this character in this Tom Waits song reacted this way. Maybe there's a lesson to be learned from that for me.
A sign in our old town. If you live it up, you'll never live it down. So she left Monterey, son, just like a bullet leaves a gun, with her chocolate eyes and her Monroe hips. She went and took that California trip. Oh, the moon was gold and her hair like wind. She said, don't look back, just come on, Jim. Oh, you gotta hold on. You gotta hold on. Take my hand, I'm standing right here. You gotta hold on. Well, he gave her that diamond store watch and a ring he made from a spoon. Everyone's looking for someone to blame. When you share my bed, you share my name. Well, go ahead and call the cops. You don't meet nice girls in coffee shops. cent store. She closed her eyes and started swaying, but it's so hard to dance that way when it's cold and there's no music. Oh, your old hometown is so far away, but inside your head there's a record playing a song called Hold On, Hold On. Babe, you gotta hold on, take my hand, I'm standing right here. You gotta hold on, hold on, hold on. Yeah, you gotta hold on, I won't leave you here. Take my hand, you gotta hold on.
That was Madison Cunningham and the Live from Heroes with Tom Waits' Hold On. It's time now to welcome our traveling correspondent, comedian Tom Papa, in a segment we call Out in America.
Thanks, Chris. I continue my journey of staying home while trying to shine a light on all the good people in America. Out in America has taken on a different meaning these days. Anytime I go out, I know that I'm coming right back in. Have you ever felt like you've been stuck in your house for years, but the days seem to whiz by at double quick pace? I have. I just about start breakfast and I'm going to bed. But today I was excited because today was food day. Once a week, I get to get out of my house and venture into town for supplies. Running errands like this feels like a preschool class trip, and I'm happy to go. Food shopping was a simple, enjoyable daily event. Now it's a high-stakes adventure through an invisible minefield. Who knew that a walk down the ice cream aisle would become as heart-pounding as an action movie? I stood in line 6 feet from other shoppers and waited to be allowed inside. The most uncomfortable part, both physically and mentally, is the masks. At moments of weakness, I want to tear it off, but then I calm down by reminding myself that this is temporary, that this is good for others, and it makes me feel like I'm a hero, and then I feel better. Have you ever used a blue bandana as your mask, and on your way into the store you pulled it up and pretended to be a bank robber in the Wild West? I have. I know I should only buy things that will provide nutrition for my family and last for at least a week or two, but shopping like that is joyless. What makes me feel better is looking into my shopping cart filled with Oreos, Cheez-Its, and 2 cans of Pringles. Have you ever been shopping and felt like you were an 8-year-old with money? I have. But this trip actually made me feel pretty good. The shelves were mostly restored. Some flour and paper items are still scarce, but the bagel bites are back, the pasta is back, and even the oat milk has returned. These may seem like small things, but it shows that we've come a long way from those first uncertain days, when I saw 2 old women fighting over a can of tuna. Charlene is my favorite cashier. She's the only person I've seen out in the world who I'm sure is smiling under her mask. Despite the newly installed plexiglass between us, we broke into our normal routine. She made jokes about my junk food, and I teased her about leaving her husband and finally running away with me. She said that for the first time in weeks, things have actually felt a little normal at the store. I think people have finally calmed down, she said. I worked for 14 days straight, plus overtime, but it's okay. I only have one worry now. Will I still get to see Barry Manilow in concert in July? I told her that her missing Barry Manilow and staying at work with me is the first good news I've heard in weeks. She didn't laugh. I loaded up the car, took off my surgical gloves, and pulled down my bandana. I checked the rearview mirror to make sure the sheriff wasn't following me and headed home at a blistering 30 miles an hour. It was time to go back in. I unloaded the groceries as my wife wiped everything down. She's not as thorough as the early days of the pandemic, but we're trying to do the right thing and protect ourselves. I guess at this point it's all about playing the odds, but we can't always be perfect. Have you ever had your wife yell at you because you ate a half a can of Pringles on your car ride home? I have. I changed out of my shopping clothes and put on a new pair of pants. If this pandemic has taught us anything, it's that apparently a lot of adults really hate pants. I've never seen so many people so thrilled with wearing sweatpants and pajama bottoms all day long. What's so bad about pants? Do they really make you that angry? Is this the source of all that road rage and political fighting? Has it been pants all this time? Well, to all of you out there reveling in the unrestricted joy of your elastic waistbands, I have a suggestion. Buy some pants that fit. You won't be so angry about dressing like a grown-up if they actually are the right size. It was time to go back out, this time to the yard. I like it here. The backyard is like a little off-ramp to Quiet Town. No news, no worries, no virus. I like to pretend that nothing is happening in the world as I sit in the safety of my lounge chair. Looking back at the house, I realize what a luxury it is to be bored in my home. There isn't a nurse or doctor or essential worker who has a minute to be bored. But I am. So I check my phone for restaurants that are still open. You know, I've been telling myself that it's important to support local businesses, but I'm starting to think that I really just like ordering pizza and barbecue every chance I get. I put my shoes back on. It was time once again to go out in America, this time to Bell's Bagels. They're doing curbside takeout and have the best bagels in LA. As a hero, it's my duty to go get some for my family. I jumped in the car and zoomed out onto the freeway. I passed the Rose Bowl that sits empty, waiting to be filled with football and concerts and the giant flea market. I zipped along into a part of LA that would take me about an hour to get to in normal traffic. Today, 15 minutes. The lack of traffic may be worth extending the stay-at-home order for another week, a month, or even a year. I returned with the hot bagels, and my family was excited, finally to see something that I didn't cook or bake myself. I watched as they dove in, making jokes and teasing each other about their buttering technique. They really are a funny crew. I've been on the road for so many years, always running to the next city and the next stop and the next stage. That's the one thing I've learned during all of this. I really do like it here. These are good people. This is my home. But it is nice to get out. Until next time, this has been Tom Papa, out in America.
Thank you, Tom. Oh, have I ever been looking forward to this. Ladies and gentlemen, Norah Jones from a concert she gave in Rio de Janeiro last December. Here's Falling.
I try to stay up high. It's calling, calling. I know it can't be found, but I can hardly hold. I'm falling, there's a place far from here, gonna make it my home. It's where I belong. When I get where I'm going, I'll be gone. I'll be gone. When my heart gets so tired that it can't keep time, well, don't you cry. When I get where I'm going, I'll be gone. I'll be gone. Wish I could tell you that the sun was gonna shine, but I got a feeling that I still won't change my mind. I'm running out of time. There's a place on a mountain. You can take my bones when I go home. When I get to where I'm going, I'll be gone. I'll be gone. I wanna tell you that
That was Norah Jones with I'll Be Gone, recorded last year in Sao Paulo. And just before that, we heard Falling. More from Norah in a bit. You'll want to stick around for that. But first, please welcome back the DNA team. That's Claire Coffey, Calvin Thile, and myself this time, joined by Mike Elizondo, Bodine Boogie Bowling, and Chris Eldridge for a portrait of Plans Derailed from Guys and Dolls.
Who will be next?
Big Julie.
What's the pitch?
Tell the people all the terrible things you done, but you ain't gonna do no more. And watch your language.
Well, I used to be bad when I was a kid, but ever since then I've gone straight, as will be proven by my record. 33 arrests and no convictions.
Horse.
No.
Harry the horse.
Well, when Sky was rolling us against our souls,
I beg your pardon?
Sky Masterson, he rolled us $1,000 against our souls. That's why we're here.
I don't think I understand.
I'll interpret for you, General. He means that they are only here because Sky Masterson won them in a dice game.
Then this whole meeting, in a way, is the result of gambling. Fire fought with fire. Sergeant Sarah, you are to be congratulated.
Thank you so much.
Hey. I didn't get to finish my testimony yet. So my sin is that when Sky was rolling us, I wished I could win $1,000 instead of having to come here. But now that I'm here, I still wish it.
Something very funny has been happening to me. Sitting here, I mean. Like I've been remembering a dream.
Tell us nicely. Tell us in your own words.
Yeah, that's it. A dream. I dreamed last night I got on the boat to heaven, and by some chance I had brought my dice along, and there I stood, and I hollered someone fade me, but the passengers, they knew right from wrong. For the people all said, sit down, you're rocking the boat. The people all said, sit down, you're rocking the boat. Or the devil will drag you under by the sharp lapel of your checkered coat. Sit down, you're rocking the boat. I sailed away on that little boat to heaven, and by some chance found a bottle in my fist, and there I stood nicely passing round the whiskey, but the passengers were bound to resist. And the people all said, beware, you're on a heavenly trip. The people all said, beware, you'll scuttle the ship. Or the devil will drag you under by the fancy tie around your wicked throat. Sit down, you're rocking the boat. And as I laughed at those passengers to heaven, a great big wave came and blew me overboard. And as I sang and I hollered, someone save me, that's the moment I woke up. Thank the Lord. And I said to myself, sit down, you're rocking the boat. I said to myself, sit down, you're rocking the boat. For the devil will drag you under with a soul so heavy you'll never float. Sit down, you're rocking the boat. Sit down, you're rocking, you're rocking the boat. Sit down, you're rocking, you're rocking the boat. Sit down.
Stay tuned for more from our special guests, Norah Jones, Marion Winik, the Sklar Brothers, Madison Cunningham, and Wilco. You're listening to Live From Here.
Live From Here is supported by CFP Professionals. CFP Professionals are focused on providing holistic financial planning, from taxes and investments to retirement and estate planning in the client's best interest. Let's make a plan.org. And by A to Z Wineworks, a family-owned company combining commerce with conscience since 2002. Always striving for the remarkable, A to Z Wineworks is committed to offering food-friendly Pinot Noir, Pinot Gris, and Chardonnay. A to Z Wineworks, the essence of Oregon. Well, since a lot of us are at home right now, we decided to bring the variety show to you. Check it out and show us what you got. Start by searching #LiveFromHome. And there's a lot more I'd like to share over at livefromhere.org. Hours of performances, including entire episodes, video clips of your favorite artists, and curated YouTube playlists. Sign up for our newsletter, maybe treat yourself to some merch. All that and more at livefromhere.org. Live From Here is produced by American Public Media.
You're listening to a very special episode of Live From Here, recorded entirely at home. We hope you enjoy the show.
Well, it's gonna be a hell of a week for musicians' birthdays, starting with Moses Sumney. Moses Sumney, whose singing voice must be heard to be believed. If you've listened to the show at all, you know I love me some falsetto. Well, Moses is the master. He's also a brilliant songwriter, and as the great Larry Sparks might put it, he dresses like he means it. I was once in a band with Moses, and by once I literally mean for one night, and actually just for one song. On the Oscars was Sufjan Stevens. How many names can I drop in one sentence? St. Vincent was also in the band. 4, including Oscar. That's how many. I'm like a reverse juggler. I'm really just trying to distract you from the disappointment that's about to set in as you realize you're hearing my singing voice instead of Moses's. But it is his beautiful song, In Bloom, from his equally beautiful new record, Gray Part 1. In the meantime, we'll get it straight. I hope our friendship can recuperate. 'Cause I've held you in place of a wife in the space a spouse would hold. Only with you I'm safe. To grow, I'm only watering seeds you sow in my heart, in my chest, 6 feet beneath the flesh. When you held my hand, but you sighed BFF. Oh no, I hope you're not another supplement for absent relationships. 'Cause when we're close in the car, in the store, in the bar, sometimes I want to Happy birthday, Moses Sumney. Next up, Maybelle Carter. That's Mother Maybelle Carter. To you, one of the most influential acoustic guitarists of all time. She taught America how to feel a two-beat song and also maybe how to solo over one. But I feel like we don't talk enough about Maybelle's harmony singing. Sarah Carter is usually singing lead on those old Carter family recordings, but that's Maybelle on the high tenor line, which, as near as my ears can tell, paved the way for, among other things, Bill Monroe's high lonesome sound. Now here's Madison Cunningham playing Maybelle-esque rhythm guitar and singing one of those fine tenor lines, and Chris Eldridge playing Maybelle-esque lead guitar on our approximation of the Carter family's early recording of You Tied a Love Knot in My Heart.
You tied a love knot in my heart, dear, when you said you'd be my bride. Oh, how well I remember as we strolled side by side. Leaves were falling all around us, roses withered on the ground. You tied a love knot in my heart, dear, that can never be unwound. She held tight in her hand as I stood there by your bedside. As I looked into your eyes, you tied a love knot in my heart, dear, that can never be untied. There's a heart tonight that's lonely. There's a heart tonight that's sad. For God has took you from me, the best pal I ever had. She's gonna sing up in heaven. God needed her there by his side. You tied a love knot in my heart, dear, that can never be untied.
That's Madison Cunningham and Chris Critter Eldridge wishing Mother Maybelle Carter a happy birthday. And we'll polish off this birthday segment with a highly influential electric guitarist, Mark Ribot. Critter, what do you have to say for yourself about Mark Ribot?
Yeah, I feel like Mark Ribot is the kind of person you hire to play on your record because he'll transform the spirit of the music. There's a fearlessness and a directness that he brings to the way that he plays. And also, I think, a rejection of any guitar orthodoxy. And so he sounds really unique. You can hear him play one note and say, yes, that is definitely Mark Ribot playing. And as a guitar player, I just feel like he's a beacon. He's someone who proves that there's nothing more compelling than unapologetically being yourself.
how about this band? That's the Live from Heroes wishing Mark Rebo a happy birthday, Chris Critter Eldridge on guitar, Brett Williams on keys, Brother Ted Poor on the drums, Alex Hargreaves on fiddle, and the secret wizard himself, Mike Elizondo on the bass. Now who's ready for some more Wilco? I am. This is Via Chicago.
Dreamed about killing you again last night, and it felt alright to me. Dying on the banks of Embarcadero skies, sailing and watched you bleed. Buried you alive in a fireworks display, raining down on me. Cold hot blood ran away from me to the sea. Printed my name on the back of the leaf, and I watched it float away. Hope I had in a notebook full of white dry pages, it's all I tried to say. The wind blew me back via Chicago in the middle of the night. All without a fight, the crush of veils and starlight. I know I'll make it back one of these days. Turn on your TV to watch a man with a face like mine being chased down the street. When he gets caught, I won't get up and I won't go to sleep. I'm coming home via Chicago. Cups are cracked and hooked above the sink. They make me think. Grumbling that the tears don't fall, they shine down your shoulders. Crawling in the street at the latch, I blow the whistle. I raise my head 8 tiny lines of cocaine left on a copy machine. In an empty corner of a dream, my sleep could not complete. The sirens and the birds, you and I, too far apart. And my eyes need a shave. What else can go wrong? Now that I'm not long for wildlife seems wrong. Won't stare, won't care. You've got family out there. The silver black boot that cracked my front tooth. It's a new kind of truth I'm getting used to. Come back, lonely. How sad, if only. Don't believe, you don't care. You got family out there. Where the power lines are down, whipping sparks around like angels touching down. Oh, I see you there. How sad, only. Don't believe, you don't care. You got family out there. Got family out there.
Wilco! Both those songs came from a surprise pop-up show Wilco played in December in Chicago with Songkick Live.
You know them from their stand-up specials on Starz and Netflix, their recent set on Conan, appearances on Glow and Better Call Saul, as well as 3 chart-topping podcasts. Please welcome back to the program, the Sklar Brothers.
So we are 48 years old. We are parents, and we are also sons. And we are in that precarious middle range age where we are taking care of small children and also taking care of older parents.
We've sympathized with the people who have changed diapers.
On both ends.
Right. As well as someone who's had a colonoscopy, basically. And your main goal when you are living in that middle space, Jay,
is to avoid all responsibility to either population.
I could not get myself out of a situation recently that happened. And Jay, I don't know how you magically squirmed out of it, but it was amazing. Our mom came to visit us before the whole coronavirus thing. She was out in Los Angeles beginning of March. And she told us both that she wanted us to help her make an Evite for her birthday party at the end of the month.
Now, I heard Evite for my birthday party, and I started to walk out of the room.
You were right to do so.
Then I heard our mom say she doesn't want anyone to know it's a birthday party. She wants them to think that it's an open house.
We're like, so you want to trick people into thinking that you're putting your house on the market.
That's when I took off for the living room.
So it's not a birthday party. It's an open house. That's the evite that I have to make that you're going to send to your friends for your birthday party, even though it's not for your birthday. So I started making this open house evite, and I was looking through the templates, and guess what? They do have an open house evite,
which is kind of amazing.
Which, if we could have just put in the information and gone, that would have been great.
But not with our mom.
No. She looked at the picture of the door opening up in the open house, and she said, I don't like that door.
Don't like it.
Great. So she said, I wish we had a picture of my front door opening up. And I said, I wish we had that too, but
we're all in California and no one is in St. Louis where you live, so we can't get that photo to put into this evite that we're creating today.
Right. So we started looking at stock footage images of doors. And I showed her all these pictures of the doors. You were in the other room, but you heard Mom's reaction to seeing the doors. And I would show her doors opening up to modern houses. You would have thought I was showing her photos of wartime atrocities.
Yes.
She would look at a door opening up to a modern house and be like, ugh, ugh, oh, no, not
oh, God, no.
Oh, God, no.
It's horrifying.
They're just doors, Mom. At the end of like 3 hours of
you never
showing
wanted
the
to see a door again.
I didn't want to see Jim Morrison. Ray Manzarek, I couldn't even, don't even show me Ray Manzarek. So finally, I'm not joking. 3 hours in, we saw a tiny thumbnail of a door that kind of looked a little like Mom's front door opening up, and there was light pouring in. She said, that looks great. I said, great. Let's use it. We couldn't really tell it was in the picture. I said, great. I took the thumbnail, put it in the invitation.
When it enlarged.
It was a picture of a door that was opening up into a house, and inside the entryway was an adult leaning down and talking to a child in a wheelchair.
Beautiful image.
It was great.
Not exactly the image you want to put out there for an open house,
which is really a birthday party.
So at this point, you were so frustrated, Randy, you said that you were like, this is the one we're using.
I was like, Mom, you are going to have to make this an open house that also doubles as a fundraiser for charity.
Yeah, that's it. Or you're going to have to find someone who has a kid in a wheelchair, and we're going to invite them to the party, and they're going to have to be near the front door the whole time.
So that was it. Then she said no. We started looking at French doors. There was a whole period of time where she said, I don't like that they're opening into the house. I don't want anyone going through my bedroom. That looks like it. Yes, most French doors come out of a bedroom. I don't know what to do right here. We finally got through it.
You find a door.
Find a door. We put it in. It's okay. She's happy with the door. And then she says to me, let's put on here on the invitation, no gifts.
No gifts.
No gifts. The way no one would ever bring a gift to an open house. It's an open house.
People are always bringing gifts to open houses.
Nobody brings a gift to an open house. So the fact that you're telling people not to bring gifts to an open house is another clue that this is actually your birthday party. So no gifts. We put that, fine. No gifts. We're going to put that on there. Then we have to start putting on typing in all of Mom's friends' email addresses, which nobody has an email address, loriblath@gmail.com.
No, these are people in their 70s. All of their emails are the most complicated things you've ever seen in your life.
It's like lori652@caa.rr.edu. You're like, what? These aren't email addresses, they're nuclear codes. It took me 2 days to put in all the email addresses. I got so many of them wrong, so many of it bounced back. I finally put in all of the email addresses. It took 2 days. We settled on the door. We put on there
no gifts.
No gifts. There's an open house with no gifts, like every open house. Put in all the email addresses, and at the very end of putting them in and sending them off, 1 day later, the whole pandemic thing blew up, and she had to cancel the party because all of her friends had underlying conditions.
And at that point, we realized that we, too, had underlying conditions.
Yep, an extreme lack of patience that would prohibit us from helping our mother with any technology-based request in the future.
That was Randy and Jason Sklar. Thank you, gentlemen. Now here's a song from the guitar, voice, and pen of Madison Cunningham, No One Else to Blame.
How long can you make the you cry before you ask your brother why. He's a bully in denial, blaming you all the while for when your dad left the frame and there was no one else to blame. How long can you take the smoke before you have to lie to yourself? You say you're on your last cigarette pack, but you're not a 1950s ad. I hate to say it's just another thing to blame for the burden and the stress, for the heartache and the mess you entertain. You put your money down on which part of you is next to slip down the drain with nothing, nowhere, no one else to blame. Another stick catches the spoke, but no one sees you fly. You're gonna take the ground in style, go down leather and crocodile, find some laundry pins and hang up a smile, walk down another useless sound. Well, when will you confess you find rest in someone else's shame? Optimism at its best is just an educated guess, and it all looks the same with nothing, nowhere, and no one else to blame.
Love that song. Thank you so much, Maddie. Hey, remember way back in the first half of this show when you heard a little bit of a piece I wrote called The Blind Leaving the Blind? Well, here's a lot of it from that same show at the University of Michigan in 2009. This is the fourth movement in its entirety.
Heaven shine through the stars. These city lights and the air is blind. Where I'll be with my friends, hiding from the beating armor and the weapons. Were a strange way to show them my affection. I sound done, and I feel done, but I'm not done unless you give up on a love song.
You're listening to Live from Here. Welcome back to Live from Here. Now let's hear another essay from Marion Winik.
The Queen of the Scene, died 2017. I met her at a strip club called the Dollhouse. She was one of the Jam and Jelly Girls, bodacious backup singers in tutus who did burlesque routines with Dino Lee and his White Trash Review. My husband Tony and I elbowed our way backstage to introduce ourselves. As she herself was a famous groupie, we figured she'd understand. About 5 years later, she became my editor at the Austin Chronicle, and the last time I remember seeing her was in 1996, after Tony died, and I wrote a book about it. She was in the studio audience at my stupid Oprah appearance. Her first husband was gay, as were her father and brother, so she fit into the theme for the show, which was, holy crap, I think this man is a homosexual. After sleeping with many rock stars, she began her writing career with a gossip column in the Austin Chronicle and quickly became its top music critic. By the time of her retirement at 60, she was beloved as the patron saint, den mother, historian, and MC of the whole scene. She went on to conduct what may have been the most glamorous, enviable, poignant, and lengthy death in history, which you could attend from afar on Facebook, with the city naming a park after her and legions of musicians and writers offering tributes in the months before she died. She had several great loves, the last being a treasured Austin hash slinger named Steve, and though they had about 5 minutes before she got sick, it was a damn fine romance. You know what? Let me give her the mic. On a cold February day in early 2013, I told my boyfriend and my mother that something was wrong with me and I needed to go to the emergency room. I went into surgery the next morning and, upon recovery, was given a terminal diagnosis of stage 4 colon cancer. That quick. That fast. It's a cruel luxury to know death will come soon, but it's a bizarre comfort to know how. A life writing about music wasn't part of the plan, but then I'd had no plan. I've long joked that I got in through the back door, so whenever I'm let in through the front door, I run to the back to see who I can let in.
That was Marion Winik with an essay from the Big Book of the Dead. And now a song that comes to us via our virtual open mic, hashtag live from home. The song is Patience, as in the Guns N' Roses song. Norah Jones took it for a spin out on the internet. She and I are going to talk in a second. First, here's that performance of Patience. Hello.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling okay, you know? I haven't been writing a ton because, as you know, with little kids around, that's a little difficult, but...
right, and
I've
now
been
they're around always.
They're always around now, but it's been great. They are a welcome distraction, I have to say.
Completely.
But I have been stealing away here and there to do little webcasts, and that's been really helpful for me to sort of have some sense of purpose in my day, and I've been thankful for that, and feeling a little bit of connection with people on the outside world. It's nice because I'm not like great at social media, so doing these little webcasts has been a nice way for me to connect.
I think I need all of Guns N' Roses' catalog recorded by you.
Oh, yeah. We were eating dinner one night, and my husband had his playlist going, and he was playing all of that music from that era, from our teenage years, I guess, basically. And Patience came on, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. It was very emotional, and it just made me feel good. And I realized I love that song. I've always loved it.
Did you know that that Wilco is on this show? And then
I did, yeah.
And you've got this
I was
song.
told that.
You've got this song that that you, I think, originally did with Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff and I got together. Oh gosh, it was like a year and a half ago, maybe. I went to Chicago to record at the Loft with him for 3 days because I've been doing these collaborations and trying to release singles with Tank from Tank and the Bangas,
Love
Tariana,
Tank.
with Thomas Bartlett, with Jeff, and I got to do a song with Mavis, which was incredible.
Woo! Yes.
That's sort of how this album all came about. Was I was doing all these sort of single sessions every few months, and I just had all these extra material, and it just sounded like a record.
That kind of collaboration is sort of a constant component of your activity, it seems. How do you go about gleaning what you're going to glean from a writer or performer like that?
In my career, I've had so many chance collaborations that have been instigated by other people, and it's been so incredible. And sometimes I instigate it. It's always been kind of quick, like, hey, I have this song, come do a vocal, or come sing this song in the studio with me. But, you know, it's a couple hours and you're done. And I learn a lot from it, and I take what I can, and I don't even think about what I'm going to learn from it. You just kind of absorb along the way. But the last couple of years, I've been initiating these sessions as something a little bit more immersive, but still with a low commitment, because that's the only way you can get people to do stuff, you know. And with Jeff, what we did was we blocked out 3 days in the studio. So we would do 3 full days in the studio. I mean, we wouldn't burn it out like 1 a.m, but, you know, like 11 to 7 p.m. And we would write and just see what we could come up with together. So it was a bit more of a real...
Like from straight up scratch?
I'll always come in with a couple little diving board ideas just to prevent awkwardness. But what I've tried to do with this particular series of collaborations and singles is be completely open. It's just an energy exchange, and that's what's beautiful about live music.
What do you miss most about playing live?
I miss the audience a lot, but I really miss playing with a band. I miss a drum groove. I miss a bass part, so I don't have to cover it all, you know. I miss the interaction of having a conversation musically with someone, and the spontaneity that comes out of it, and the unknown of how it's going to sound, and then the electricity of the excitement whenever it sounds as good as it can, you know.
things I'm not. It's alright, it's okay, and it's not. Maybe things will change.
That's Norah Jones with a tune she co-wrote with Jeff Tweedy called I'm Alive. Time for one more before we turn off the lights, but first, a big thank you for including us in your plans. There was no way we were going to make this show and not end with this song. Love y'all. Stay safe.
Sat together in the park as the evening sky grew dark. She looked at him, he felt a spark tingle to his bones. 'Twas then he felt alone and wished that he'd gone straight and watched out for a simple twist of fate. Remember well, he stopped into a strange hotel with a neon burning bright. He felt the heat of the night, he hit him like a freight train moving with the simple twist of fate.
A saxophone someplace far off played. She was walking on by the arcade as the light bust up through a beat of shade. When he was waking up, she dropped a corn into the cup of a blind man at the gate and forgot about a simple twist of fate. An emptiness inside which he could not relate, brought on by a simple twist of fate.
He hears the ticking of the clocks. He walks along with the parrot that talks. Hunts it down by the waterfront docks where the sailors all come in. But maybe she'll pick him out again. How long must he wait once more for a simple twist of fate? My twin, but I lost the ring. She was
was born in Spain, but I was born too late. Blame it on a simple twist of fate. That's our show from our homes across America.
Live from Here is produced by American Public Media. Thank you to our special guests, Madison Cunningham, Norah Jones, Tom Papa, Wilco, Marion Winik, and the Sklar Brothers. The Big Book of the Dead is published by Counterpoint. Thanks to our Live from Heroes and our musical director, Mike Elizondo. Thanks to the staff of Live from Here, Rochelle Rocky Ben Lulu Dubin, Tom Campbell, Jonathan Cohen, Riggs and Collins, Jason Colton, Lynn Elliott, Jeffy Nilica, Sam Hudson, Martha Cato, Emily McCune, Dominic Meckie, Ben Miller, Emerald O'Brien, Amber Robinson, Frankie Rousseau, Dave Cinco, Noah Smith, Sarah Weiss, Adam Zeff, and I'm Bodine Bowling. Check out video clips from tonight's show and learn about what's coming up at livefromhere.org.
Hang in there, friends. Thank you so much for listening. We can't wait for the next one.
American Public Media.